Today we'll be entering into the world of the Amazing Digital Circus. Now, for people who don't know what the Amazing Digital Circus is, let me break it down for you. The Amazing Digital Circus is a YouTube web series that first aired October 13th, 2013 and took the whole world by surprise. Well, not really by surprise. Glitch has made other shows in the past like Metarunner and Murder Jones, but this one exploded. As of me recording this video, the pilot has just about 400 million views, which is kinda crazy if you think about it. The story starts us off with the introduction of the digital world and the characters in it. Jax, Ragatha, Gangle, Kinger, Zool, and Kane. During this introduction, our main character Pomni suddenly appears in the middle, completely clueless on what's going on or where she is. The last thing she remembers is putting on some weird headset, and now she's trapped inside the circus with everyone else. Now that we know what kind of world we're diving into, let's dive into this music. We start our adventure with the first episode, the pilot. When Kane is giving us a tour of the digital circus, the main theme of the show plays. Let's take a listen. This piece is called The Main Theme from the Amazing Digital Circus, composed by Gooseworks themselves. But before we get into this piece, we need to talk about clowns and circuses, as our main character is a clown and the show has the word circus in it. When people think of clowns, you either think of this kind or this kind. But we'll be pushing these new age clowns to the side for now, and we'll be talking about the real clowns and circuses. A circus is a form of entertainment that features many different spectacular acts, mainly having clowns juggling balls or some type of ring that's on fire. At the start of the show, there's a certain theme that's played, and I think we all know what it is. It's called Entrance of the Gladiators. Well, I never knew the name of this piece, just the song. It was composed by Julius Fuchik in 1897 and has been a staple for the introduction of clowns in circus music. Entrance of the Gladiators follows a pretty standard form. We get an opening at the beginning, like a show is about to start, and then we get our first theme, very bouncy bass line and a fast moving line in the upper voices, like the show is starting. And then we get a little intermission, maybe things are changing around in the circus, and then we go back to the main theme, like the main act is back on. Now that we talked about the origins of circus music and clown music, we can now go back to the present with the digital circus. The main theme of the digital circus follows the exact same form as Entrance of the Gladiators. We get a beautiful introduction as the curtains of the digital circus opens up. They give us a drum roll, and then boom, we're in. There's a main theme. The main theme plays. We get a mini intermission just to go right back to the main theme. Now that we talked about the overall idea of the piece, let's talk about what's on the page. The main theme of the Amazing Digital Circus is in the key of E flat major, and we could double check that because in the first measure, we get an E flat, a G, a B flat, and a D in the bass. In the treble, we get a E flat and a G, and that spells out the major 1 chord in E flat major. After listening to that beautiful intro in measure 7, we get the start of our main theme. In the main theme of the piece, we get this tug of war in the bass line with the chords. It goes back and forth between chords every 2 measures. In the first 2 beats of measure 7, the start of the main theme, we get an E flat major chord, which is 1 in E flat, just like how we talked about earlier. And in beats 3 and 4, we have an A flat, a C, and an E flat, which spells out A flat major, which is the 4 chord in E flat major. As we keep going into the main theme, we get different variations of the 1 chord and the 4 chord. Sometimes it'll be E flat major in first inversion or second version, or it'll be an A flat major chord, but in first or second inversion. And what makes this piece so addicting to listen to is that very bouncy bass line. Just like in Entrance of the Gladiators, it's really easy to follow the beat and clap along to. The instrumentation for this piece is drums, strings, organs, and a bunch of like silly noises like clown horns, toy bells, and also we have like a a funny synth lead with a special sound to it, so it gives us that circus vibe. As the story progresses, Pomni and the gang goes on their first adventure together. When out on this adventure, Pomni meets her first NPC, Gummy Goo. Pomni and Gummy Goo get separated from everyone else and ends up in a place where all the sprites and assets are stored. As Gummy Goo looks around the area, he figures out that he isn't real, and as this is happening, this theme plays. Wow, now that was something else. This piece is called Somebody Real, and it hits hard once you understand it. The piece is called Somebody Real because, as we know, Gummy Goo is an NPC. An NPC, also known as a non-playable character, is a term used in video games. They are characters that aren't controlled by a human, and they have built-in thoughts and ideas and can't think on their own. In this instance, Gummy Goo is our NPC, but after talking with Pomni, she makes him feel like somebody real. Somebody that's worth more than just a built-in code. Now we understand that much, let's take a look at the sheet music. This piece is also in E-flat major, just like the last piece. The song might sound a little bit familiar because there's a leitmotif in it. A leitmotif is a recurring musical theme that is connected to something and it's heard over and over again. In this instance, it's a slowed down and chopped up version of the main theme, and later on in the show, we also get this theme again in episode 3 during Kinger's conversation with Pomni. Our main instruments in this piece are voice as the lead, piano, violin, and a synth. What the voice does is highlights the important parts of the main themes, which makes it sound really angelic, and then everything else is pretty much extra support, especially the violin, pretty much laying out the exact chords, and as well as the piano. The song uses harmonic progressions that are supported by a melody. Pretty much, it's just a bunch of chords over and over again, which makes it sound so nice. This video is only going to be a part 1 to analyzing the Amazing Digital Circus music. I didn't want this video to go over 10 minutes because I feel like that would have been way too long for talking about music theory. So this is going to be it. And please give me more feedback in the comments. More help is so much appreciated. Thanks for watching.